You didn't change when it would have cost you something. You didn't undo what you did. You learned how to explain it so it wouldn't cost you any more. You learned how to talk about it in a way that people would accept. And now everyone's asking the same question. Not what you did, but whether this version of you counts. This shard is short, and it's not framed as a confession. It's not emotional. It reads like a report. See, Joshua Stevenson goes to prison, and while he's inside, he finds faith. And when he gets out, he says he's changed. And that's it. There was no miracle, no scenes, no voice telling you how to feel. Just a record that says this is who I was, and this is who I am now. And the shard doesn't argue with him. It doesn't accuse him. It doesn't validate him either. It just leaves the question hanging. Who decides if your change counts? You or the people who were hurt before you changed? Because the story doesn't end where he says it does. And here's what the shard is actually pressing on. See, change is easier to claim when there's nothing left to lose. When the damage is already done, and when the consequences already landed. When there's no reputation left to protect. Because explanation becomes safe only after the cost is paid. And explanation is powerful. It turns action into context, context into misunderstanding, and misunderstanding into something survivable. You didn't erase the past, you reorganized it. You didn't deny what happened. You learned how to talk about it without closing doors anymore. And that's human. But it leaves one question no explanation can answer. Did you change because you understood the harm? Or did you change because you finally understood the cost? And this is where it gets familiar. Because most people change when they're forced to. Fewer people stay changed when it costs them comfort, patience, or control. When the relationship is already broken. When the job is already gone. When the reputation is already damaged. And only then does honesty stop threatening anything. So when you say I'm different now, what people really hear, even if they never say it out loud, is you would have stayed the same if this hadn't caught up to you. And that's the part that hurts. Because you might be sincere. You might not ever even do it again. And still, the people who were hurt, they don't owe you belief. Not because they're cruel, but because trust isn't rebuilt on explanation. It's rebuilt on time. It's rebuilt on consistency. And it's rebuilt on cost. And sometimes they leave before they ever even see it. So who decides if your change is real? Not the crowd, not the people you hurt, not the story you tell about yourself. They only decide whether they stay. The decision you live with is quieter. Whether you keep changing when no one is watching, when no one is impressed, and when forgiveness never comes. Because real change doesn't prove itself in acceptance. Real change proves itself in what you do when your new identity stops being rewarded. This shard never tells you whether the man is redeemed. It leaves you with something harder. Forgiveness is optional. Belief is optional. Reconciliation is never guaranteed. What isn't optional is the work, and whether you keep doing it even if the people you hurt never benefit from it. No approval, no resolution either. Just a question sitting where it belongs. Are you changing because you're different now? Or because you're tired of who you used to be? And can you live with the difference?